Okay, Midnight Bacon here. Just want to talk about weapons and weapon efficiency and how it affects your loot and your loot returns. Previously, before Minarch introduced Loot 2.0, something like this A3 Justifier Mark II or A3 Justifier Mark II was a pretty good gun to have. And if you look at the efficiency on it, it's 56.7. Now, if I can throw some amps onto it, which one I got here? I've got this one here. I can throw this on there. What else? There it is. Throw that on there. Throw that on there. And now it's changed it to 64.5, which is reasonably high efficiency, but it's good, but it could be better. And even though I can't really find somewhere where it's actually written, someone might actually know where it's written or where they've seen it, but apparently you need a efficiency of at least 70% to at least fall into what's considered to be Loot 2.0. Now, previously, I might actually read a few things off the actual official notes from Minarch regarding Loot 2.0, just to give a bit of a background on it. So, loot calculations will be optimized and improved to better factor in various costs associated with hunting activity, including healing, ammo, consumption, buffs, tools, armor, deterioration, attachments, and more. So essentially, what you get in your loot returns, it's factoring in basically everything from deterioration, decay, how much damage you're putting into the mob, whether you're healing, not healing. It all has an effect on your actual loot returns in terms of essentially what you put into that mob is what you're going to get out of the mob. Let's keep on reading. A new economy rating parameter will be introduced on a scale of 1 to 100. So anything at that lower end is considered inefficient and long term is going to cost you. Anything at the higher end is considered to be efficient. According to Minarch, apparently that's 70%. That's what we're looking for. So for quite a long time, the only way that players could actually achieve this is by being able to afford one of these fancy unlimited guns. If you look at the efficiency on it, 80.5%, and that's as is out of the box. No amps, no lasers, no sights, no modifications to it. That's just as it comes out of the box. Another one that's been introduced more recently during the Twin event, 80.42% efficiency. So it's both these are very high efficiency. They're both over that 70%. So by default, out of the box, these are both considered to be high efficiency weapons which fall into that Loot 2.0 category. Now there's other factors that come into it, such as avatar skills and whether you're hunting an appropriate mob for the damage output of that particular weapon. So let's see, get the basics. It's going to just quickly tell me 37.6 DPS per second, damage per second. So I need to hunt a mob that basically is going to match that also. So that's another factor that needs to be taken into consideration. So I mean, realistically, most people would say you don't want to be taking any more than 10 shots per kill per mob to kill that particular mob. So you don't want to be shooting there too much. So that's another thing that you need to consider. But like I said, so let's actually go back to the official statement from Minarch. Let's see. So rating to 1 to 100 that indicates the efficiency of the tool, which influences loot calculation. This change from the once dominant damage per pack model will provide and design the team with more blah 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 blah. A bit of spin here. Avatar skills will play a role in loot calculations. So this is your animal looter, mutant looter. That's what all comes into an effect. Which affects the calculations. Monarch is monitoring blah blah blah. Ammunition's being removed. Loot value calculations composition. So loot value calculations and compositions of the items in the loot will be affected properly by properly matching avatar skills and gear to the creature being hunted, rewarding efficient kills with more interesting loot. So in other words, high value loot that you can sell for markup. And so this is where you can actually start to make a bit of profit in the game and actually get more bang for your buck, so to speak, where you can actually play for longer by being able to sell this high value loot to other players. And to get this high value loot, you need a high efficiency weapon such as this Twin Edition, or perhaps it might be something like this Mayhem BC30 modified that's got 80.5. So to actually get this, what was the word that they used? Loot calculations, compositions, affected gear, creatures being hunted, rewarding, efficient. With, well, their term is they're using interesting loot, optimal loot. So to achieve optimal loot, you need to be using weapons like this. One of the barriers to a lot of players is that with these unlimited weapons is the cost point to actually buy or to actually own these weapons. And to an extent, a lot of the WoWs in the game have effectively been controlling and gatekeeping these items from other players by keeping such extreme price to buy these, because they're not cheap to buy. So let's see, let's go market value. So if we look at this AP series Mayhem BC modified, to buy one of these you're looking at well, yeah, 12,000 ped plus TT on it. So 12,000, so you're looking, yeah, it's saying 12,000, so that's about 1,200 USD for one of these. Let's see, what's the twin gonna cost you? The market value, this is for the twin edition, nothing in tier 1, oh, tier 2, there we go, 20,000 ped, or about 2,100 USD for one of these. So the price point to actually buy one of these is basically locking a lot of players out of Loot 2.0. A huge proportion of the player base can never reach optimal loot because they will never have access to weapons like these because of their price point. They're just too expensive. One thing Minarch has done recently to address this is they have introduced these limited high efficient weapons, and in my opinion this is one of the best things they've done. So this one here, if I go here, let's detach the attachments. Now this won't get to 70, but it will get pretty close to it. So I'll chuck that on. Which 4B? I can chuck the 4B on it. So there, we've got 68.7 efficiency. So that's a fairly high efficiency. It's pretty close to 70. And at that sort of point, plus with decent animal looter skills, you can pretty much be confident that you're pretty much hunting within that Loot 2.0 category. and this is actually a weapon that actually drops on Eris. So it actually drops from a lot of the low level mobs on Eris. So this is one that you can actually get just from looting, from killing mobs, as part of your loot, as a reward, I guess. So this is actually a fairly cheap way to get a pretty much a genuine Loot 2.0 gun. And let's see, what else was I looking at of this? And if you look at the durability, exceptional, so it's going to last you a long time. So no longer do players bound by basically paying, just big wads of cash for these unlimited guns. We no longer have to do it anymore. Additionally, where is it? Additionally, these are now craftable, so these can be made and and sold to players. So as you can see with this one, the Hyperon PR30, it's got 73 efficiency, so it's highly efficient. It's not quite as good as these unlimited ones, but for once and for all, it gives your average player access to Loot 2.0 guns, as it's something that we've not had for a long time. And I just want to say it's really fantastic that Minarch are basically putting these limited versions of these guns into the game, that basically everyone now has free access to, well, when I say free access, I should really say cheap, affordable access to Loot 0.20 guns, and it's probably the best thing that Minarch has ever done. This particular one, I think I paid 154 ped for it, so roughly 15 USD for it. And it puts it into, it basically means that Loot 2.0 guns are basically affordable for pretty much across the board for most average players. So for a long time, the only way that a player could basically have weapons or gear that basically met the Loot 2.0 requirements was to spend $2,000 just on a gun, an in-game gun, actually spending $2,000 for one of these guns. So effectively, a small handful of players had effectively gatekeeping these Loot 2.0 guns from the rest of the player base, which some people might say, okay, fair enough, they've paid all that money for it, it's justified, it's fair that they've got every right to do it, it's their property, which to an extent, yes, I agree. So but I just want to make it quite clear, by no means, and I'm saying, don't get me wrong, I am not saying that players that own these guns should have to give them up or sell them cheaply. I'm not saying that. But the good thing that Minarch has done is they've introduced weapons like this. The Plasma Pistol 1 improved. They've introduced ones like this. The Plasma Rifle 30. They've introduced these into the games, which now means that we no longer have to rely on buying these, that we can simply choose to buy these limited ones, which gives us that Loot 2.0 gear. It's no longer being gate kept from us, the gates are wide open, and now the average player has an alternative. We have an option to use these instead of this. We do not have to pay $1,000 or $2,000. We can pay 15, maybe 30, maybe even $60 for these limited guns, which makes it significantly more affordable for everyone else. And like I said before, I feel like the introduction of these limited edition ones is probably the best thing that Minarch has ever done, because it truly does open the gates to everyone, and now everyone at least has a chance of being able to actually have optimal loot. Because with something like this, yes, like, you know, you chuck an amp and you chuck, you know, various things onto it, you'll get it up to about 64, 65. Yeah, it's still not going to get your optimal loot. If you want to play Entropia for the long run, you need something that's at least in this 70 plus category. Anyway, it was just my thoughts on guns and efficiency. If you like this video, please like, share and subscribe.